Okay, on the premise that the audio is not working. Oh man. Remember to stretch, everybody. So on the premise that the audio is now working and things because it's been kind of a pain for the last, couple of streams off and on. We should be good. Let me just check real quick. See if I can pull it up on the thing. Also, yay for coffee. Okay, testing. Alright. I'm still hearing some static feedback, but that might just be my phone at this point because I've been informed that the audio was more or less clear from the last book club episode last week. Tuesday last week? Monday? Whatever day it ended up being, I don't even remember at this point. But yeah. So, due to technical difficulties and everything, we were kind of cut short a bit on that. And if you see me looking down and stuff, it's either notes on the phone or working on this guy. Like, I came up with a new kind of chunky bead pattern last night. And I'm just kind of experimenting with it. And because it's a relatively easy pattern to do, I don't need to like fully engage my brain in it, so I can distract my hands so I'm not fiddling with everything and talk, which is great. But yeah. So so should probably introduce this whole situation for people who don't know who I am and what I do and stuff. Alright, so if you're new here, hi, hello, my name's Rin. On Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, depending on what the tech has decided it wants to do and prior obligations, we do a Botany book club thing on Twitch. The current reading, if you will notice beside me here, is Rare and Commonplace Flowers. And we're most of the way through it at this point. I know I keep talking about it, but I will end up putting all of these episodes, or at least all the ones that I still have access to, on YouTube. um, for like future watching and stuff. And by ones I still have access to, there were a few that didn't end up getting downloaded in time. Not for this one, but I think there was one episode from Firekeeper's Daughter and something from Wolfskin. Those discussions that didn't end up making it, so we shall see what happens. It's just a matter of editing out certain things. But yeah, there is that. If that seems like a thing that you'd want to participate in, we've got the Discord. There we go. And apparently I still haven't edited the stuff for that. Anyway, so yeah. Yes. Again, if you see me just kind of looking down for a bit, either it's the notes that are over on the phone over there, or it's this little guy. So we shall see what happens and go from there. Anyway, so when we left off, Lota. So okay, if you're new coming in, the book that we're working on right now is essentially a dual biography, meaning that it's a biography about two people essentially, but it's written in kind of a literary lyrical style versus like historical what have you. So it essentially it reads like a novel, but it's not. Like it reads like a novel, but it's written about real people. So, and it's not historical fiction. Which is kind of a rather interesting lens to have info relayed through, honestly. But anyway, I digress. And let's see. Just because I don't actually remember what we left off on. Yeah. So we've got kind of an escalation of the sort of toxic elements of the relationship between Bishop and Lota. And like the awareness that Lota is reading Bishop's mail, so if there's anything coming through the mail that like she doesn't agree with, her partner's not gonna get it, and that's where we are with it. And like the not so subtext of like actually it's pretty blatant really, where Lota doesn't want Bishop to do much of anything outside of the outside of her jurisdiction, I suppose. And Bishop just like wants her partner back because Lotta's been kind of completely involved with the garden and everything. And if you're new to the storyline, the garden is the what would become the what's the full name? What's the full name? So I know it's in there, I just can't remember what it is. Okay. Interesting. So we've got this that has like early 19th century French vibes, but it was opened in 91. Look at that. The Jardin Botanico de Curitiba in Curitiba, which I say this in pretty much every stream that we're talking about anything that's not English, but apologies in advance for when I mispronounce things because, like, again, English words are hard enough sometimes, and I can never remember what the, like, accent marks are meant to do. So, there we go. That's the disclaimer there. Now Alright, well, apparently they're not in. Okay, one sec. But yeah, in case it's of interest, we tend to um Flamengo. Okay. Hotel de Flamengo in Rio. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, trying to it's still odd, just as a complete aside thing. It's still odd as a concept that it's easier to get my brain to focus on something if my hands are doing something completely different. Like, it makes sense because that's how it's always been, but it's just weird as a concept, you know? Anyway. So, we've got the Atero, where Lota is attempting to um, kind of rope the establishment into doing what she says, more or less. And all of this is happening, like the stress from the project and issues with her relationship with Bishop and all that is happening in the middle of political upheaval in Brazil and a change in which party's in power and how that impacts the societal structure, really. And it's kind of seen through the lens of social commentary as referenced by the like notable authors of the time and stuff. But yeah. That's not what I want to do. Alright. It's like my brain's trying to decide whether or not it wants to actually focus or just like obsess over caffeine. Okay. Oh yeah. So one of the big issues with the whole project, like because Lota essentially doesn't have clearance to do much of anything. Like, she doesn't have the respect of the people involved unless they're, friends. She doesn't have any, like, actual socio-political sway or anything. All she's really got going for her is, like, being friends with the current person in power, who is the one who initially gifted her leave to start the Ataro Garden Project. So, with the switch in power, we've got Lacerda and we'll come to it in a bit, but I can't remember what the successor's name was. But there's a point in here where, what was it? On impulse, she wrote a letter to Governor Lacerda to offer herself as a candidate to replace him, presumably. In the governmental position. Which, if you don't have clearance, like, I realize we've just finished having 4 years of someone who has no qualifications for any kind of leadership position in power in the US. But, like, if your only leadership sort of any kind of qualification thing is that you ran like a garden organization, something tells me that you wouldn't really be suited for governor, really. There's other more qualified people, but in context, it's that she's trying to secure some way for the garden project to continue and be remembered and stuff, so, like, I get that, but in execution, I don't know about that. And, okay, let me just see something real quick, because I know here it's, there's different political parties, but you elect the individual person. And I know there's some areas that it's you elect the party and then the party selects the person. So, let me see. How are political leaders elected in Brazil? Okay, what's the wiki say? Um, hmm. Interesting. Okay. It doesn't entirely answer my question, but alright. Brazil elects on the national level a head of state, a president, and a legislature. The president is elected to a four-year term by absolute majority vote through a two-round system. The National Congress, or Congreso Nacional, has two chambers: the Chamber of Deputies, Câmara dos Deputados, has 513 members elected to a four-year term by proportional representation. The Federal Senate, Senado Federal, has 81 members elected to an 8-year term with elections every 4 years for alternatively 1/3 and 2/3 of the seats. Brazil has a multi-party system with such numerous parties that often no one party has a chance of gaining power alone, and so they must work with each other to form coalition governments. Interesting. Okay. Good to know. But yeah, so essentially, the success or failure of the Atero project is being attributed to whether or not they're going to honor Lacerda's the only term coming to mind is final wishes, and that's not it. Because that's like, you died. But I guess, like, in context, it could work. It's like final edicts, I guess. Or final. Final notes as a head of state. Yeah, we'll go with that. But most, if not all, of those in the new government can't really stand Lota, because of multiple reasons, but especially because she tends to kind of be a bit antagonistic, shall we say. And yeah. Anyway. So she's trying to get the people in power now to agree that the project is super awesome and should continue being funded and everything else, and that keeping her on as the head of the project is a good idea and whatnot, much to the detriment of the relationship with Bishop, who has accepted a post as a poetry teacher in Seattle. Now, through all this, there's like a odd back and forth between the two of them, where they both want to be together, but neither of them can, like, set aside their particular neither of them can set aside their particular obsessive tendencies, I suppose. For multiple reasons. But, like, it's to the point that, I don't remember which chapter it's in, but Bishop asks Lota to go with her to Seattle, right? Because the Atero project is taking up so much of her time, and it doesn't seem to be a good influence on her. She's not doing that great. And the response is that if the other party is elected and there's continued tension and things, Lana would go to It's right there. Seattle, there we go. We go to Seattle. And there's discussion there and all that. But you know that, like, she doesn't want to give up on the project, because at that point, Bishop and Lota have been together for like 13 years. And the project has been going on for like 5 of them. So, for like almost half of their relationship, Lotta's been working on this thing. And it's had issues almost since day one, from the sounds of it. And well, that's not entirely unheard of for some kind of garden project, just because if you're working with any kind of living organism, they can be pretty temperamental, and you have to cater to that in order for the whole thing to work. That's just how it is. But in this particular situation, it's more down to the people involved than the wildlife or the plant life in the area. Which is part of what the tension kind of resolves into as the new government takes over. Because you've got Lota, who doesn't have any kind of qualifications and doesn't have any kind of like actual jurisdiction aside from, you know, being gifted a seat. And the new hierarchy, who is trying to send Lacerda and his people a message by not working with Lota. Because that's kind of the last, that was literally the last thing that he did in office, to try and either ratify or codify. Thinking it would be ratify. We shall consult the Google. Sign or give formal consent to a treaty, contract, or agreement making it officially valid. Yeah, okay. So the last thing that Lacerda did in office was to try and ensure that the foundation would be in place, right? And this, like, it was meant to essentially oversee the gardens and anything connected to the gardens. and Lota was the head of it, which the whole garden setup was kind of seen as a waste by that point, by at least part of the area. Because I didn't really have funds going around in order to be able to spare a lot for a park in the middle of the city. That said, well, I don't know what she was planning to do. Exactly. Because that's not in the chapters that I've read. But it sounded like, at least, that she wanted to, I guess, revitalize the soccer pitch that's there, and yeah, and go from that. Okay, there we go. Sorry for a second. There, the thing that I was doing to distract my brain enough that I could actually have a conversation so that my brain wouldn't be distracted, was not one to work properly because my brain was distracted. So, great things there. Just all across the board. Anyway, how was I? Yeah, okay. So, we've got new governmental systems, new people, Lota trying to deal with all that, Bishop dealing with Lota dealing with that. Bishop started drinking again, and at one point she'd just had enough with everything and went to stay with a friend in one of the kind of neighboring cities a bit away from Rio. And she started writing again, and it was actually flowing, it was working, which hadn't really been a thing for a good long while she was living with Lota, because of the stress and everything else and multiple factors, right? Which I can totally understand. Sometimes you have to be in a particular headspace in order to write, especially if you're trying to do any kind of rhyming schematic. Like, that's kind of a challenge on a good day, as it is. But it was working, and stuff was going good. And she was there for a couple of months, wrote some poems, wrote a book, and then, like, Lota came together and she went back to Rio. And that's kind of where we see, like, they both wanted the relationship to work, from the sounds of it. They both wanted to be able to just kind of relax and be happy and stuff. But between Bishop's drinking and Lotta's kind of inability to deal with the emotional upset that was associated with it, that caused that at all. And Lotta's obsessive involvement with the tarot and trying to force the new officials to do what she said, essentially. There was a lot of tension just across the board. And initially, when Bishop got back to Rio, like, you know, it was one of those times that she was anticipating that things would go back to, like, relative normality, and they'd actually get to see each other, and Lota would actually be around and things, right? And there was a bit of a honeymoon period where things were relatively okay, and then it went back to how things have been for the last few years of Lota being away working on the Intero project, and Bishop feeling abandoned and alone at home. And then, because Lota knew that, or at least, maybe not because, but in addition to that, we'll say, Lota knew that Bishop had accepted a post in Seattle, right? And Bishop had asked her to go with her, And hey, Honeycomb, how you doing? Yeah, it's kind of turned into a craft slash right, okay. Let's thanks for Honeycomb. A craft slash book stream because my brain won't shut up. But yeah. So yeah, the main tech support, so I'm pooped, but here to listen, be a friendly presence. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Yeah. That is much appreciated. So also, yeah, totally understand with like the tech support being tiring thing. Anyway, so we've got Lota doing whatever it is that she's doing. Bishop essentially feeling lost, really. And like the imminent departure for Seattle, right? And Bishop kept trying to get Lota to go with her and all that. And Mom's phone went Chaos Brownie, so new one had to be purchased. Oh, yikes. That's not good. I am glad that you were able to do an assist, though. That is good. Chaos Brownie phone, not so much, but yay for assist. But yeah. So, just trying to get Lana to go with her. Meanwhile, Lana was trying to convince Bishop to stay, not like in a we can make this work, I love you, like give me a chance sort of way, but more in a you'll fail if you try, so it's pointless, and you'll never succeed if you leave. Toxic kind of way, which fun times, truly. Like, seriously. Your person is trying to do a thing. Just, like... Your person is trying to do a thing, and it's not actually detrimental to their well-being, unlike the drinking and stuff. So, like, maybe don't be a jerk about it. How about that? How about that? But no, apparently that's too convoluted. But yeah. So we've got that as a subplot there. And this book was marketed as part of an part as an epic romance, right? It's like part of it, right? Like, okay. Here's the weird literary thing, okay? If these were characters in a book, like just fictional characters, I would be annoyed. But like, they're real people. Like, historically, they're real, actual people. And like, I know how like certain toxic elements can be when it comes to actual human experience and all that, right? So I'm kind of torn between a little bit more leeway and really not at all on that. Because, like, as a character, you want to just say, like, why are you like this? Just no. But, like, for actual humans and stuff, it's like, alright, I can see where this was happening, but, like, also, what? Ah! But, yeah, anyway, there's that. But yeah, the idea that this is marketed in part as an epic romance is like, why? Why though? Huh? I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh man. Yeah. So we've got that. As an actual human, we also want to say why we like this. Yeah. Yeah, like it. I would be less likely to say it to someone's face if they were an actual person versus a character that doesn't actually exist. But, like, the sentiment's the same, you know? Why? Just why? It's, but, I don't know. Like, come on. Yeah. So, we've got, like, and partly I know where it's going because A, historical, and B, like, it's in the description if you look it up. But like, Bishop leaves to go to Seattle, and Lota is still hanging out in Brazil trying to get everyone to do what she wants them to do, and the new government's like, ha, no. And they're both miserable. Like, they're miserable together and they're miserable apart, so, like, I don't know. but we've got Lota in Brazil who's fighting with the new government people because they don't want to acknowledge the foundation thing. And we've got Bishop, who's miserable in Seattle because she doesn't like living in hotels and whatever. And keeps getting hit on by one of her students. Or at least, it wasn't, I don't think it was ever mentioned if she was actually one of the students, or was just the age of the students. Oh, right. Yay for stretches. Noticing worst prices should be the crafting. The crafting is kind of like a creative like either I'm crafting or I'm constantly clicking the fidget cube thing. But they're essentially like wristbands, which it seems to be enough compression to help. So I don't know. It's one of those that I'm trying to figure what kind of range that I have to work with, too. So, I don't know. But yeah. So, we've got Bishop, like, constantly being hit on by one of the students at the college. We'll go with that. Yeah, no worries. That's definitely something that I'm aware of, like with the wrist thing, and I'm keeping an eye on it. So we shall see. But yeah, thank you for the warm fuzzies. Hey, you need the warm fuzzies too, friend. Like, you can totally do the thing for like hugs for yourself or for the bot or whatever. That works. That totally works. But yeah. So like, just as a thing, right? Like it's less of an issue perhaps if what's her face is not a direct student, but like they're both in relationships, right? Like Bishop is still in a relationship with Lota, and the like 26-year-old 28 or however old she is married. And it's like, guys, what are you doing? uh Come on. And just like, I can understand being a fan of one of your professors, especially if you're in a literary degree set, because most professors in that capacity are published. That's kind of one of the things, especially in English departments. Like, I think it's English and history. You kind of have to have been published in order to be considered for a lot of things, especially at that point. So being a fan of one of your professor's works, like, alright, yeah, okay, cool. And, if you're a really big fan of your professor's work, you might have a fan moment, like, especially, like, at the start of, intros and whatever. Like, I get it. 90% of how I interact with media is fan culture. Like, I get it. But also, what are you doing? Like, come on. Letting the hormones do the thinking, that's what they're doing. Exactly. Like, guys. What? Come on. You're being ridiculous and embarrassing. Like, come on now. And, like, I know that, at this point, Bishop's feeling, like, all isolated and alone and whatever else. And from the sounds of it, kind of was for years before leaving Brazil, really. Just because the Atero project has taken up the entirety of her partner's existence for like half a decade at that point. Almost half of the time that they've been together, right? But, like, also. On top of which, I know there are times that relationships with like significant age gaps like can work, like whether it's just as friends or like romantic or whatever. But 28, 26 something year old married student, and Bishop would have been what, like 55, 60, something like that. When you're love starved, you tend to make dumb decisions. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I can see Bishop's logic there because it sounds like it was just, oh, there's this person who wants to be my friend. There's someone who is acknowledging my existence. So okay, yeah, I'll hang out with you. Okay, that's fine. But the and it's even described in there, like the kind of aggressive pursuit that the what's her face had. Like, you're literally married. Like, what are you doing? You you have a person. If you don't want to be with your person, fine. But like, and I realized that divorce wasn't really a thing that you did for that era, but also, you know, on top of which I know that a lot of times people were pressured into um, getting married by a certain age, and LGBT peeps weren't really acknowledged aside from like that one person off there that we don't talk about. So, there's a lot of societal issues and things that looking back at it with a contemporary lens might not fully encompass the whole thing, but still. Random side thing. I want to say there's about as much stuffing in both of these, but like this one, I don't know if it'll pick it up, but if you can kind of hear it, there's kind of a crunch when I squish this guy, and it like retains the shape versus this one that it just sounds like a pillow and it pops back. The difference is the difference is, the sandy type sound one is older fiberfill. That may or may not have been left in the car for like a couple of days in the heat. So this is like the baked version of this. But yeah, we've got, and I figured out how to do like some winged liner on there. Yeah. Also, right? Oh no. Okay. A work mission. One sec. Yeah, just popping the mic over on the side here so that I don't completely mangle it, because I have to go rescue a bee. Alright, one sec. Alright, so you might have seen this little snake on the Instagrams and stuff. This one has like the sort of crunchy fiberfill, so it's a lot stiffer. But I did up another version, and this little buddy took me like 8 hours. But it's made with the blanket yarn, and is designed to be a scarf. So we've got, yes, the snake. So we've got the insulating rounds and stuff, and it's actually like really warm on the back of my neck right here. But yeah. Really happy with how it turned out. So now I have a snake pattern, and this particular one is a scarlet king snake, like the longer snake. Yeah. This particular one's a scarlet king snake, so is not the venomous that I'll get it. Venomous. There we go. So this dude isn't a venomous snake. But if the head was like more pronounced, or like had more of a diamond shape to it, or like the eyes were a little bit more hooded or what have you, that would be an indicator that it was venomous. So I have the base snake shape, and now know that in order to be able to scarfify said snake, I have to like just have it as, half stuffing or something. But I can adapt it to whichever species. But like, in trying to figure out what to charge for something like that, I'm also trying to figure it, because one of those little guys took 8 hours to do. So, yeah. Well, the big one. This one was like an hour, but only because I was stopping to talk about book things. So, there's that. Anyway. Oh yeah, and there's a bit like in the middle of all the issues and stuff, we've got a lot of publicly arguing with people, whether it's former friends like Burl Marx, or the secretary of the new government, and she's trying to clear her name while trying to get support for the Atero project, and everyone is like there I forget which chapter it's in, but there's a section where the secretary is trying to like refute or respond to any possible issues that he might have with uh, Lota and is asked, like, point blank about, like, her yelling at him, and denies that ever happened because, like, uh, she's a subordinate, so, like, obviously not. Like, that's not a thing, no. Like, dude, come on. Uh, uh, but, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on with that. Like, a lot. Uh, anyway, so we've got what else? Okay, just a thing, right? I appreciate that students are trying to help their instructor. But it seems a bit weird. Like, I mean, it's weird that, like, the entire interaction with, what is her name? Because, like, I can't remember the whatever, what's her name? Oh, yeah. Just, there's certain lyrical notes in this that it's just, like, so descriptive, right? Um, so the conflict between the bishop and Lotta, right? The rancor made them raise their voices and lash out at each other with italicized words. It's just so poignant. So very, um, oh, yeah. Adrian. Like, okay. The student teacher dynamic is just. Mm, it's not as bad if, you know, the student is not a direct subordinate to the teacher because, you know, not in the same classes and all that. Uh, but you still, Like, even without that, you still have the, like, super fan and author dynamic going on, which, like, is a whole thing. Like, there are definitely times IRL we can clearly hear the italics. Yeah, totally. Like, ah, yes. So much. Like, again, we've got, the, is it just me, or we're y'all getting, like, kind of creepy vibes from Adrian? Just because. Like, because there's a difference between I am a fan of your work, you're awesome. Like, I'm a fan of your work, and you as a person are really cool, and I want to get to know you. And what seems a bit like stalking. And then subsequently, you know, kind of flipping the power dynamic almost. And somehow getting her an apartment. We admit we did not read, so can't say you're probably on point though. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Y'all are fine. Let me see if I can find the thing. Yeah, so we've got Bishop, who's essentially, like, starved for attention, and overall feels real bad about herself, who comes out of class after trying to teach people, and it's phrased kind of odd, but it's like, she's walking out of the, what was it? Bishop was leaving the classroom building, awkwardly carrying the briefcase, uh, 2 books with page markers and, like, envelopes and things, so she's got a lot in her arms. And okay, that's what it was. This chick just, like, randomly, like, oh hi, just out of nowhere, as Bishop is trying to, like, concentrate and get somewhere. Bishop drops, like, everything, and this person just elects to, like, pick stuff up and, like, oh yeah, okay, so I'll just walk you home. Like, where are you staying? Are you where's your house? Are you on campus? Like, where are you? Like, I don't know. Like, where are you going? At a hotel. Oh. Well, do you like to live in hotels? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that you want to do? Like, no. But I don't have a car. Like, oh, okay. How about we get hot chocolate? Cause, like, it's cold, so you want hot chocolate? Let's get hot chocolate. And what was it? Bishop had thought of going to a room and drinking a can of Metrocal, But when she came to, she was sitting in front of Adrienne in a peaceful place, drinking a tasty hot chocolate. Now, like, I know there's times that I just kind of dissociate while driving and am on autopilot. Or, like, you're thinking about something and end up like, oh, I just walked somewhere. That's what I'm seeing in this. But it's usually just, like, me by myself and not, like, other people involved. So, I don't know on that one. And then a couple of pages later, it's, like, talking about how, what was it? Okay. Adrian began to wait for Bishop regularly after classes. This strayed from Bishop's rigid code of discretion, but Bishop gave in because Adrian's solicitude and energy were very welcome to her spirit at that time of day. And then, like, just one random afternoon, like, oh, you have a new home. Like, what? What? Adrian took her to an apartment nearby the university. It was only a bedroom living room with bathroom and kitchen, but Bishop adored it. It was the right size for someone who did not want to spend a stretch of time in a hotel room. And then there's no discussion of, like, who's paying for it or anything, just that, each person from the group, presumably it's either the study group or the students or something, I don't know, which would imply potentially that Adrian is one of the students. But that each person was going to bring some old thing from home to furnish the apartment. When that happens with other people involved and use the phrase come to, that's a danger signal. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know you've had a lot of issues in your life, and, like, there's things and stuff, but, like, it's a context and, like, linguistic choice that if they had been sitting down somewhere and then moved to a secondary location versus just, like, randomly meeting in the middle of the quad or something, I would infer that she had been drugged. You know? Like, but, like, also, kind of seems like a trauma response. So, like, what? What? And then, like, a page later, it's, it was, so many nights in Rio had been an Antarctic for her. Speaking of Bishop. Now she felt sheltered in Seattle in midwinter. The memory of Adrian's vivid eyes warmed her. Sweet and unexpected Adrian. and it ends with a poem, and that's the end of that chapter. So like, it's huh? I know where it's going because, like, A, it's kind of obvious from context, like with the clues and whatever, and B, it says in the the book description that when Bishop was in Seattle, she had an affair. But like, ah, what? What is this? What? What is this? Exactly. Trauma response and someone clearly triggering and preying upon said response. Yeah, yeah, like, even just, like, the initial contact between the two of them, right, just really feels suspicious. And all subsequent interactions, and it's like, I know what's gonna happen because it's in the thing, but like, what? And just the idea that, like, with all the shenanigans and whatever that went on in Rio, none of the interactions, as toxic as it was, none of the interactions, on page at least, between Bishop and Lota are described in that manner. And within, like, a few select interactions with Adrian, that's how it's put forward. And as, like, at that point, as toxic and codependent as, like, Lota and Bishop's interactions are, and there's a whole subplot of, like, long distance relationships and the phone not working. Like, it's just, good point. You don't see a lot of triggering that sort of response. Yeah, like, and we know that Bishop has a lot of childhood trauma. Like, that's a thing. That was an entire discussion point for a lot of the first part of the book, and that was part of the interactions at the start there, unless you count Bishop's drunks is another type of dissociative binge. I mean, fugue, not binge. Okay. Like, what? Which, yeah. But that also seemed tied to depression and yeah, 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 it's there. Depression or being ignored, but that, yeah, it's definitely connected to the high emotive response though. So yeah, that could be a thing because, like, I know, like, it's interesting, like, dissociative whatever's and self harm and whatnot, like, how it manifests. Because for Some people it's sharp and stabby things, and for some people it's eating things that I know I'm allergic to. So, yeah. Only when it's intentionally done, though. When it's, like, not intentionally done, it's a different thing. That's just, like, an allergic response. And it hasn't, like, I haven't intentionally eaten anything with dairy or gluten for, like, ages. So, yeah. Is drunkenness a form of dissociation? It's an interesting question. I don't know, like, it. I don't know that it. Well, maybe. Because, like, I will say, when the handful of times that I have actively, like, been drunk or been high, it's the same feeling as when I'm barely, when I'm very sleep deprived or heavily dissociated. So, I don't know how it looks from the outside. Pretty sure I kind of turn red when I drink a little bit. But that's part of why I've instituted a 2-drink max for myself. Because, like, one, I'm, like, chill, and, like, two, it's, like, I know if I go past that, I will be, like, literally off my face and kind of nauseous. So, like, dissociation and nausea at the same time. Yeah, fun. Great times. But then it's like that plus the hangover headache. So, yeah. Verily. Yes. Yes, indeed. Okay. I'm gonna pop off for a second. I need to use the facilities, so one bio break. And I will be back in like 5 minutes or so. But we'll turn the mic off for the duration. Testing. Okay. It's really funny considering we were just discussing Bishop and Adrian, and music is like stereotypical seductive music. Nice. Yeah, it would. It could qualify as that. Yeah. uh, so that's that brings us to the end of A Bolt from Camo. Again, pronunciation of anything is not my strong suit. my admittedly, like, there's particular words that I've been told I pronounce like a native speaker, but they're fully interspersed with ones that I have no idea what those accent marks mean. Simply because I've heard certain words said a lot. The same as, like, I can read it a lot of times, but, like, I can't say what it is. So, yeah, there's supposed to be an accent mark on the O up there. But OBS didn't want to let me do that. And there we go. But yeah. There is that. Any comments, observations, what have you? Things? Or no? On a random side tangent, like, I got these to do a few bees, right? Not knowing how much I would need for whatever. I still have, like, out of, after the whole, like, hive that I made, like, I still have this much left for the black and yellow, so, yay on that. Wait, where, Needle, where'd you go? On a random tangent thing, because I have a laptop that has, like, magnetic closures for the lid, I've taken to just putting the yarn needles and stuff like on that because it keeps it where it needs to be. But yeah. What's the plan for next time, reading wise? How many do we have? Urban cleaning is the next one. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's 6 chapters left. So if we try and do 3 and 3, so it'd be like 2 weeks more, maybe. So like urban cleaning to the Third Great Park, and then the week after, Suns Go Down to Boston, 1978. How? Well, let me see. Because Rio 94 is only like 4 pages. Oh, okay. Never mind. One second. Boston 1978 is 2 pages. Rio 94 is 4 pages. Maybe Hufflepuff thing. So divide the remaining readings in half. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looks like the last 2 are really short, but the rest of them are like. I don't know, 14 pages long ish. So yeah, if we just like break it up in half and into half into 2 or in another order in half, there we go. That should work. Make a Hufflepuff thing. What kind of Hufflepuff thing? It's weird, like okay. We're transitioning from the book club, so yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for stopping by and participating in the discussion in the comments below if you would like to. And remember to hit the subscribe button down below and things to be notified when things upload. If you want to take part in the live discussions, it's twitch.tv/adventurin. And yeah, have a great day. Bye, everybody. Okay. Don't know, I was just thinking They're Hufflepuff colors. Yeah, no, totally. I don't know. I don't know. Random thought, but like for the snack friends, would sweaters for snakes be a thing, or would that just be too much? I don't know. But yeah, also, also, I was trying to figure stuff because basically, uh, I it's one of those times that I got. Okay. I got an idea stuck in my head, but I don't quite know how to go about doing it, you know? So, we've got we've got Snack we've got Snack Friend here. There we go. The Slytherin snake wearing a Hufflepuff sweater tube thing would be adorable. Okay. Does the sweater tube thing want sleeves on it? Or just like, just a snake sweater? Because, I don't know. um, but I had an idea, right? Because like the for Scarlet King snakes, there's a lot of variation, obviously, because genetics and stuff. But one of the pictures, no sleeves. Okay, I can work with that. But one of the pictures, it had like a large red section and smaller white and black sections, or yellow and black. So, I had an idea because my brain is in like, you know, my brain is in rainbow mode at the moment. So, I was trying to figure out how to integrate some kind of pride flag situation into the snack makeup. Um, so like each individual section to be a different color, or like um actually that would really work for the rainbow. Hadn't thought of that. Um, or like and just repeat it, or break up the individual sections into like the whatever the flag setup was, like for the B here or what have you. And yeah, just input on that one. uh I have a blue. I don't have a purple in the blanket yarn. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's where we're. I notice you've been super productive mode lately, and are hoping you don't crash. Yeah, it's one of those. I know that that's okay. Let's get you back to your spot over here. There we go. Okay. I know that's a possibility. So I'm trying to do what I can at the moment. And um Rainbow Snake sounds cool, however you decide to do it. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. On top of which, I just like that scarlet king snakes are are known, like they're the main thing that they're known for is being like the friendliest snake, because like they're not venomous, they're just chill and overall have a really good personality. So using that as a model for something with like pride colors just like has a certain element of fuzzies and stuff, you know? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just a few wheels going around. It's fine. They're just there. They're doing their thing. Yeah. So, um, what was that? Alright. So, um, hmm. Like you're wearing doing the self care, it's hard to. It's hard to slow down when you want to speed up. Yeah, yeah, no, totally. Like it. I'm. I was going like in massive hard mode to do pattern design, so like I have. What was it? How many are there now? have 7 different patterns written out. Well, like, some of them are variations on others, so, like, there's 3 different B options and stuff. But, yeah. Let's see. Rolling out. Thinking about that. Well, it's a lot of patterns. Yeah, like, it... when productive mode hits, like, it hits real hard. No, one sec. And I know I have to do whatever it is that productive mode wants me to do, because, like, I need to clean up all this, but my brain won't let me focus on it because I have other stuff to do. So, alright, well, at least I've done this. And now I'm trying to figure out how to, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, now it's a matter of trying to get everything to operate properly and all that. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with how the Snick friends have turned out and stuff. But yeah. No. Oh yeah, that's well. Now I'm trying to figure out how to format patterns so that I can list them as like a PDF thing on Etsy or the website, because like I'm pretty sure at this point I'm planning to have a shop thing on the like as a page on the blog, just so that everything is contained, but also on Etsy, just because there's a lot of people that use that mode to search for stuff. And if it's a digital thing, then I don't have to worry about shipping or anything. So, yeah. But, I don't know. So, is that something that you could do in Word, or... I don't know. But, there we go. Yeah. Oftentimes. I just had a thought. If this yarn makes the really tiny bees, would using that yarn with this pattern make finger puppet ghosts? Experiments. Anyway. Yeah. So that's where my brain is right now. No. Pretty sure you can use your word processor of choice as long as you can save it as a PDF. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those that it's been kind of in the back of my head for like about a week, so I'm gonna do an experiment with that and see what I can come up with. So, yeah. First, to make sure that they're actually, readable. Because just it makes sense to me, because I've done them a bunch of times, doesn't mean it makes sense to anybody else. But, there we go. Yeah. So, that's kind of all I got for right now. Yeah. So, ow. Yeah. Solving the stripe join problem also seems important. Yeah, the closest I've gotten so far is that. So, like, we've got that, and come here, Snake. And like there. But you can still see the join there. and you can still see it there too. So I don't know on that one. So I don't know. Whenever I've tried to do that, it's ended up kind of wonky. So I don't know. We shall see on that. It's an improvement though. Yeah. Yeah, which is a positive. Definitely. So, I don't know. Yeah, this one is. Meanwhile, I have I have this guy is supposed to be a dragon, but I got the pattern. I don't know how long ago, but this is supposed to be the head and body of a dragon with the legs and wings all coming off of this with a little tiny tail. But somewhere I have the tail, it's just not on. Which, A, what was I doing with the eyes, honestly? And B, I don't know. I don't know about that. If I don't finish what it was originally supposed to be, it'll eventually become something else, but, you know. It kind of looks like a goose, honestly, like that. Yeah, it looks like a bird head. Yeah. I'm just saying one of those the fake trophy animal things on a wall mount or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. So it is what it is. Um. So that's the shenanigans that I'm up to. Yep, exactly where we went. Alright. Is dragon or deceased bird? Seriously. Sounds like you're ready to sign off. Glad we got to hang out for a bit. Yeah, it was. It was muchly glad. It was muchly good to hang out for a bit. I'm glad that we had a chance to do words today, honestly. Oh, alright. So, so, let's see. Hmm. Okay. Uh, Yeah, so I'm about ready to sign off. If we're gonna do a raid, do we want to do do we want to go visit someone doing coin carding? Um, Pixel art? Or oh, there's still people playing Among Us. Interesting. Or damn it. Um, Graffiti art. Ooh, I'm so used to not being able to look at anything on the feed that it's throwing me off that I can actually just work with the phone. Okay, graffiti. Okay. How much it is. And by graffiti, I mean Posca markers on a piece of paper or other thing, not spray cans, just so you know. Alright. There you are. Okay. Nope, nope. Watch, stop moving. Alright, so I'm gonna mute the mic for a second. Live streaming actual defacement would be problematic. I mean, you're not wrong, so there's that. Alright, I'm gonna turn the mic off for a second to switch out the headphones for the mic. And yes, the headphones are real janky, but you know, what can you do? Alright. So if I turn this on, it shouldn't pick up. Okay. Let's see. Alright. Let's Alright.